Pam Wimmer Benedict. I have properties at 1209 and 1217 West Lake Drive in Detroit Lakes, Minnesota. Okay. I've been coming to DL for 78 years. I am a taxpayer on Westlake Drive for 30 years. I am advocating for hanging the flag. I cannot even believe we don't do that. Pride and gratitude are those reasons. I'm proud to live in DL. I'm thankful for the huge contributions of the state of Minnesota that they provided to make this a great recreational area, a great recreational area. And are we getting more money? I think so. I'd like to say we fly the new flag because can you imagine that you can see it from 2 blocks away? The old flag is blue, has a great emblem in the middle, and you cannot tell if it is from the states of Vermont, Virginia, Wisconsin, New Hampshire, Nevada, Montana, Michigan, Maine, Kentucky, Kansas, Louisiana, and Idaho. They all have the same design. Or on a lapel pin. I could see your lapel pin if it had the state of Minnesota from here. You could not tell if you had a state of Minnesota lapel pin with the old design. The new design has an 8-point star, which has a lot of symbolism and was carefully thought out and designed.
So Pam, you're approaching your time limit.
Okay. I am advocating for flying the flag. The city council voted not to. Some didn't like the new design. I say I didn't like my assessment this city council put on my property. I liked my property taxes from 1995, far more. So I say to you, let's get with the program. Let's fly the new flag. It's beautiful when you see it presented. Thank you.
Okay, I'm gonna ask so we don't have applause every time we have a speaker. It's just gonna belabor the meeting this evening. Jeff?
Members of the council, and Mayor Brink. My name is Jeff Skogmo. I live in Mary Meadow Lane. I just want to follow that up about the flag. I'm just wondering what the council was thinking when they decided not to fly the flag. Any comments?
One of the rules that we have, Jeff, is we're not gonna engage in any dialogue
Okay.
with any of the speakers.
All right. I just think it's rather embarrassing that we're not flying Minnesota state flag. I don't care, particularly for the design myself. However, it's our state flag. What are we telling our students that are in our school system? What are we telling the tourists that come here? That we are embarrassed to fly our flag? I just think that Detroit Lakes is probably the most wonderful town in the state. I've lived in a few cities in my life. This is my home. And my kids all went to school here. I've got grandkids that go to school here. And everybody I know is proud to live in Detroit Lakes. And part of that pride is being part of Minnesota. And what are we telling our tourists that flock here? They love this town. And we can't fly our own flag? I think that's embarrassing. So, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Who's next? Janine?
Janine Schneider, Villa Lane, Detroit Lakes, Minnesota. I had looked it up online and I saw 3 minutes, so would be way over. If you give me permission to do my 3,
I'm pretty lax anyway, so,
I'll read really fast.
all right.
Okay. Tuesday, June 10th, was a day of highs and lows for me. It started on a high note as I attended the ribbon cutting at Ortonstone Gardens and Sculpture Park. The camaraderie of a group of citizens who have generously donated land, money, and time to bring an amazing dream to fruition for the betterment of our community. Then the lows as I attended the city council meeting. Another group of citizens, this one with a divided sense of purpose, those who were opposed to the city flying our flag and those in favor. Feelings of anger from those who don't like the new state flag and didn't want it flown by our city. On the other side, those who felt people who had been given a chance at input to the new design, and because it's legally our state flag and has historically been flown by the city of Detroit Lakes, should continue to be flown. Sadness that a contingent of dissenters could convince our city council to change what they have historically done to fly the flag of the great state of Minnesota. You no longer see it flying in front of the pavilion at the base of Washington Avenue. I've lived in Detroit Lakes for more than 60 years and have always felt such pride in our community. Especially recently, as we have made great strides in updates and beautification. I've been so proud of the leadership and forward thinking of our city council in these efforts. But that Tuesday, I was saddened and ashamed. As a veteran 35-year teacher, I felt like the bullies on the playground had prevailed. We try to teach our children to stand up to the bullies. Shouldn't we do the same? Kudos to Wendy, Jackie, Mike, and Sean for standing up. The rest of us need to as well. I'm still a proud Minnesotan, but my pride in my city has been diminished. We need to remember that as citizens of Detroit Lakes, we are also part of a greater community, that of the state of Minnesota. We benefit greatly from that relationship. The city receives LGA from the state every year. This year, in the amount of more than $520,000. We've also received some major grants from the state, $33.4 million for the water treatment plant. And in 2019, $12.8 million for the airport runway extension. And just this year, $1.2 million for the industrial park expansion and almost $750,000 for the library roof. And as a member of the library board, I would especially like to thank the state for that. A leaking roof and books don't mix well.
So Janine, you're over 3 minutes now.
As members of the larger community, the state of Minnesota, I feel we need to show gratitude, loyalty, and respect. When a state legislator and her husband were gunned down in their home and 2 young children were murdered attending mass as part of their school day, we did not even have a state flag we could lower to half staff to show our bereavement. For all of these reasons and more, I'm asking that you please call for a new vote and support the flying of the new Minnesota state flag. Thank you for your time and for your service.
Okay, thank you, Janine. In the back, sir? Yeah.
Hi, my name is Brian Alstein, 1041 Timber Drive. Council members and Mr. Mayor, thank you for providing this time. I'm here along with other common sense citizens because of the Minnesota flag. We had heard that there would be pressure put on the city council this evening to have a vote to fly the new Minnesota flag. I realize it is not on the agenda for today's meeting, but we were recently surprised by an unannounced vote on another issue, so that's why I'm here. I'd also first like to thank you for the prudent compromise you made in June to fly neither Minnesota flag. That decision was in everyone's best interest, and I'd have to say it was a courageous one, and thank you for doing that. And I'd like to try to convince you to stick with that decision, even though you've been urged to change it. This issue is no longer just about a flag. It has become a proxy and a symbol for our state government for the past few years. Unfortunately, it has also become a hyper-partisan issue across the state. Several of the candidates in the race for governor have stated that reverting to the traditional flag will be their top priority, while candidates from the other party are doubling down. I suspect this issue will be front and center for many elections next year, so it's not going away. And if you do cast a vote on this, at this point, it will unfortunately be considered a partisan move, and nobody wants that. My request to the city council is that you commit to us to maintain your current neutral position so that this issue can be resolved at the ballot box next year. None of us wants to come here and make the stand at every city council meeting, but please understand how important it is that this new divisive Minnesota flag not be flown in our beautiful city. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you, Brian. Gary, right? Okay.
Mr. Mayor, council members, I would like to ask you some questions, but since you won't answer them due
Well,
to the.
first of all, can we have your name and address, sir?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Gary Cosin, 1231 Madison Avenue, number 316, Detroit Lakes. I understand that you won't answer questions, so I'll just give you the questions, let you think about it. But I'm going to say this more in a legal sense instead of a personal opinion stance. I'd like you all to think about who the electorate is in accordance with the state constitution. My other question is, what is the constitutional definition of the word people? Because it sure as heck is not the plurality of votes cast. Look it up when you go home tonight and Google it. Because every member of the House and Senate at the state level, not to mention the federal government, were never elected to pass that bill to give us a new flag. And by their vote, ladies and gentlemen, they've committed a felony. Because they can't comply with the Minnesota Constitution or the U.S. Constitution. So I hope you all think about that the next time somebody comes up here and talks about their pride. We've had a couple of teachers come up here and say that we have to give our kids pride. Well, how about following the law?
Gary, you're about to the end of your time.
Okay, give me 1 second. So I'd like you all to think about that. If you pass what they've done in giving us that state flag, just remember, you'll be just as guilty as the legislature and the Congress. Thank you.
Next speaker, Yvette, come on up.
Well, I'm going to jump ship here because I'm going back to last month. I was unable to come to the meeting because of prior things, and I was coming to thank you all for having prayer in this chamber. I went home and picked up the paper and found out that it was rescinded at the last meeting. I don't know the rules of anything, but I assume you would have things on the agenda that were going to happen that night. Am I wrong? I don't know. But anyway, I'm just going to give my little spiel that this country was founded on the Judeo-Christian values. All of our forefathers that wrote this book, the Constitution, prayed before every one of their meetings, before they voted on anything. And why in this country now that we have come to the point where prayer is bad. This nation was founded way at the beginning, and even last night, Christopher Columbus, when he came to this country, he came to bring Christianity to the natives. Did you know that? I didn't. I looked it up last night. So why are we so afraid in this chamber to pray? Are we afraid of the satanic movement that's going through Detroit Lakes? We have to stand up. God will strengthen us. And please bring it back to Detroit Lakes. Thank you.
She didn't say who she was or her address.
Yvette, just for the record, you're Yvette Bruflot, and you live where? What's your address for our minutes? What is your address?
Oh, my address, I got it on 1877 McCarthy.
Okay. Who's next? Yes, sir. This is Donald, right? Hi,
Yeah,
hi.
Don Johnson. I live at 1032 Timber Drive, Detroit Lakes. And I have been a proud citizen of the state of Minnesota for the entire 73 years of my life. And the last 48 years living in Detroit Lakes, where the Minnesota flag is flown next to the American flag in front of the city offices continuously. That is until a small group of people I consider somewhat radical decided to make the new Minnesota flag a political football to be kicked around and molded to their extremely partisan wishes. The Minnesota flag, like all other state flags and the American flag, is not political. It is a symbol of our pride, our allegiance, our honor to be part of something bigger than any individual or any political party. The new flag, as well as the Great Seal of Minnesota, were completely redone in 2024 to remove the racist overtones of the fleeing Native American, of which poet Mary Henderson Eastman wrote in 1850. We claim his noble heritage, and Minnesota's land must pass with all its untold wealth to the white man's grasping hand. The issues with the Minnesota flag have been ongoing since the 1960s, when the Native American groups brought its racist overtones to statewide attention. Changes were made to the flag in 1983 that were considered inadequate. Finally, in 2024, a bipartisan committee with participation from an equal number of legislatures in both parties was charged with creating a new flag. All Minnesotans were given the opportunity for input into this committee, and thousands of flag designs were considered for almost 2 years.
Don, you're gonna have to wrap things
I
up.
got one more paragraph. The new Minnesota flag contains no racist overtones and simply represents the beauty of Minnesota. People who complain about the flag are perfectly okay with the new state seal, even though it's changed for the same reason. Not flying the flag is the same as saying, if we can't fly a racist flag, we won't fly a flag at all. I hope we all can agree that although it exists, racism has no place in Minnesota. Please be a proud Minnesotan and fly the Minnesota flag. Thank you.
Anybody else? Darren?
Mine's for item B. You want me to discuss that now or when you bring it up?
When we bring it up. So is there anyone else that wants to speak in the public forum? If not, thank you for your comments. If not, I would adjourn the regular meeting and call to order a public hearing to consider the proposed assessments for unpaid streetlight fees, water, sewer, and stormwater charges. And I would call on the finance chairman, Chairman Bulkey.
Thank you, Your Honor. Consideration of resolution adopting the assessment roll for unpaid streetlights, water, sewer, and stormwater charges. Carrie, anything to add? If not,
Is there anyone in the audience that wishes to, I should have done this first, Matt, I'm sorry. Is there anyone in the audience that wishes to ask any questions or make any comments regarding the unpaid fees? Yeah, Darren. You can come up to the podium, please, so we can hear you.
Mayor, I have a house.
Keep coming, keep coming.
I live on 1732 East Shore Drive.
Okay.
And I bought a house here on South Shore, 604 South Shore. And at that time when I bought it, I didn't know that I was going to bulldoze or do anything with it. And so I never asked for any of the city services, sewer, water, or electricity, or none of that. So I end up getting a bill still for, according to your policy, for sewer and water on the premise. But my, so I got your policy, I went through it, and then I looked at a few other places in town, just a few blocks, and they don't pay it. So it seems like the policy is kind of maybe arbitrarily imposed, and so therefore I'm asking you to not charge me for the special assessments. And just some of the house or addresses that I have that don't get this bill, 1212 Summit Avenue, 923 Summit Avenue, 1139 Linden, Linden Lane, 1139 West Avenue, and properties in Tomlinson Schultz Development, they don't get the or the fee for it.
Okay, so is there any city staff that's familiar with his situation that could tell us what's going on?
So I can speak a little bit to this. So the 604 South Shore Drive address, in our utility system, no one has claimed this property since it was sold and purchased by Mr. Halverson. So we didn't have any information on where to send utility bills to for that property. And regardless of whether you're using the services there, the services are connected to the property. And so even while the house was vacant, when it was still standing, you were still responsible for those services. However, no one's, to this day, come in to sign up for those services.
Absolutely, and just let you know too, there is no house there.
Okay,
So
now
it's
there
a-
isn't.
Well, it hasn't before. It's a vacant lot, and other houses that I know, well, I specifically know of one, 1212 Summit Avenue, that was a house there, burnt down, and they don't get charged the fees anymore neither. On the one on the 900 block of Summit, that used to be like a apartment complex a few years ago, many years ago maybe. That burnt down, they don't pay the fee neither, so,
And what types of fees are you talking about? I mean,
the stormwater fee.
okay, so stormwater is charged to all properties in the city unless they're completely vacant to begin with. Some of those,
But that's not your policy, though. It doesn't say, in your policy, it doesn't say completely, it says if they're unimproved, which to me, that would mean that since the sewer and water runs in front of it, that's an improved parcel. They should, regardless if there's a house on there or not, they all should be paying that normal fee, correct?
that argument could be made, that's not
That-
how
that's
we've
that's
done that.
Thank you. That's my whole argument there. It's arbitrary. And you get policy and procedures like this shouldn't be arbitrary. It should be one or for all. Correct?
Darren, is your objection the stormwater fee?
Any fees that I've received on that place that I didn't ask for service for, it'd be for all of it. Because I compared it to the other residential properties, they don't have these fees. They're not getting any utility bill.
The bulk of your charges on this property that we're assessing is for sewer charges.
Yep.
So,
Same thing. Sewer, stormwater charges, it's all the same.
but when you purchased the property, was there a house there?
Yep.
There
was.
was.
Yes.
So that house was still connected to city utilities at that point, until it was taken down. So at that point, we were still charging base fees
I would say no.
for those being connected to those utilities. That is our policy, and we are very consistent with that.
Okay, but you still kept on charging with and then other houses too. I'm telling you, other buildings that have been tore down.
Okay, well,
They
I can
don't pay-
speak to this property at this time, and this is the one that we're discussing tonight in this public hearing. If you'd like to discuss other properties, I'd be happy to do that with you.
I'm
I just don't know that
using-
this is the
I'm not-
appropriate place to
I'm just
do
using those
that.
for an example that.
I understand.
It's not, you're not charging.
So Darren, why don't you come in and talk to our city staff about this? Because I don't think we're gonna resolve it tonight the way things are going.
But I have,
What?
I have,
You already have?
yeah.
Okay, well,
So that's just it. The policy, when the house was taken down or not used, not signed up for. The electricity was just to let you know, was disconnected. The water was disconnected. The only thing that was attached is the sewer line, which you can't shut off at the street. So there is no services being used there.
Well,
Mr. Mayor, if I may.
Go
Darren
ahead-
and I have
go
had
ahead,
the
Vernell.
conversation. When he talked, him and I talked, I reviewed the ordinance for both the water, sewer, and stormwater charges. Our sewer charge is an unavoidable charge as long as there's structure on the property, and we did that by design in the cost, service, and rate study when we built the new wastewater treatment facility to ensure that we could recover a capital cost of that facility for every place that had a sanitary sewer service onto a parcel on a piece of property. As long as that house was on that parcel, it was due to be paid sanitary sewer charge on that property. Same thing with the stormwater. I believe as long as the structure was there, stormwater fees applied. Once the structure was removed, I believe stormwater fees could go away and the sanitary sewer charge could be gone at that point. We've talked about this. I explained the ordinance to him. He's aware of it.
Yep, and I agree with that, except it says here vacant unimproved parcels. These are all parcels that are improved in the city of Detroit Lakes, so they all should be charged that regardless.
Okay, so
Because-
do you have anything more to add?
Yeah, just because there's a house there versus not a house there, it shouldn't matter when it rains. It still does the same amount of work if there's a house there or not. Just think about that.
Okay,
That's all
well-
my consideration there.
We'll certainly take it under advisement, but unless you have something more to add. Okay. Is there anyone else that wishes to speak to the issue of the unpaid streetlights, water, sewer, and stormwater charges? If not, that public hearing's closed, and now I will call on Chairman Boki.
Consideration to a resolution adopting the assessment roll for unpaid street lights, water, sewer, and stormwater charges. I so move.
Second it.
Motion's been made and seconded to adopt the assessment roll for unpaid streetlights, water, sewer, and stormwater charges. Discussion on the motion. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the motion carries. At this time, I will call to order a public hearing to consider the proposed assessments for unpaid fire protection charges. Is there anyone in the audience that wishes to speak to the issue of any unpaid fire protection charges? Hearing none, that public hearing is closed. Chairman Boki.
Thank you, Your Honor. Item C1, consideration of resolution adopting the assessment roll for unpaid fire protection charges for 2024 and 2025. There are two individuals on there. One has approached the city saying he plans to play yet this fall, but we're going to move forward as is, and I so move.
Second it.
Motion's been made and seconded to adopt the assessments for unpaid fire protection charges. Discussion by the council. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. And that brings us to the Community Development Committee agenda, and I'm going to call on Acting Chairperson Buboltz. Jackie?
Yes, Mayor and Council, the Community Development Committee met and regarding 5A, consideration to approving a resolution decertifying tax increment financing District 23-1. The committee discussed, recommends approval, and I so move.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve a resolution decertifying tax increment financing District 23-1. Discussion on the motion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries.
Item 5B, consideration to approving a resolution approving the variance to allow an 8-foot setback instead of the required 20-foot setback from the alleyway at 1112 McKinley Avenue. The committee discussed and recommends approval, and I so move.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to adopt a resolution approving a variance to allow an 8-foot setback at 1112 McKinley Avenue. Discussion on the motion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
In the matter of 5C, consideration to the request from Chad Wendell authorizing a 1-year extension on a conditional use permit to allow a planned unit development with a 14-unit townhome development at 1377 Westlake Drive to August 12th of 2026. Again, the committee discussed, recommends approval, and I so move.
Second it.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve a request from Chad Wendell for a one-year extension on his conditional use permit at 1377 Westlake Drive. Discussion on the motion. All in favor of the motion, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
And the last item from the CDC, 5D, consideration to approving a resolution approving the final plat of Linview Estates, first edition at 865 Sherwood Drive. Committee recommends approval, and I so move.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve a resolution which approves the final plat of Linview Estates, first edition, 65 Shorewood Drive. Discussion on the motion. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Jackie. We'll move to the Public Works Committee. Chairman Zeman.
Okay, Public Works, first item A is MnDOT Highway 10 East Shore Drive intersection update. MnDOT had a public hearing here at this chamber here on September 23rd in regards to design and cost for a J curve, and I'm going to call on Kelsey Clem to give us an update on that meeting.
Mayor and council, yeah, we just provided kind of an informational update to the committee. In your packet is a version of the J-turn intersection that MnDOT is proposing to basically make the improvement at the East Shore Drive and 290th intersection. At the open house that was here, they presented two options. One was this full J-turn. Another option was kind of a half a J-turn, if you would. That would have kept the main access on the Highway 10 at East Shore. Again, basically to summarize our update, MnDOT has kind of ruled out that hybrid option, and they are going to proceed moving ahead with really the full J-turn design. Again, be very similar to what's in the packet. The project itself isn't slated until 2029 as part of Highway 10 improvements between DL and Frazee. So this is a few years out, but we were just giving an update to the committee that it appears this is the direction that MnDOT is going to go on the project.
Okay, thanks, Kelsey.
And that was basically an update for that, and that will happen here in about 4 years when they start putting that J-turn in. Going on to the next item is item 6B. You have a special handout that was given to you here. This is the matter of ordering the preparations of assessment roll and setting a public hearing for a proposed assessment for a Southwood Shore Estate Street and Utility Improvement Project. And I'm going to call on John Pratt to give us an update on that.
Mayor and council, this is just fairly routine business. As Alderman Zeman indicated, it's ordering the preparation of the assessment roll and setting the hearing for those assessments for the November meeting. We're just about wrapped up with that project, and so at this point, the next step would be to prepare those assessments.
Okay, and the assessment hearing will be on our next meeting of November 10th here at 5 p.m. to this location. The committee recommends, and I so move that we go ahead with this.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to adopt a resolution ordering the preparation of the assessment roll for the Southwood Shores Estate Street and Utility Project. Discussion on the motion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Item C, consideration of resolution accepting bids for the Linview Estate Street and Utility Improvements Project and awarding the bids to R.L. Larson Excavating. Again, I'm going to have John Pratt give us an update.
Mayor and council, we opened bids for the Linview Estates First Edition project on October 2nd. We got 8 bids, which is quite a few. Low bid was from R.L. Larson for just under $400,000, which is a bit below what the estimate was for the project. So at this point, we need the council to award that construction contract so we can move ahead with that project.
Okay.
Okay, and I'd like to say that we did receive a number of bids on this, but the low bid was for $394,703. The high bid was at $664,000. But the committee reviewed this, and I so move that we go ahead with this resolution.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to accept the bid for the Linview Estate Street and Utility Project and to award the contract to R.L. Larson Excavating. Discussion on the motion. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 3-0.
Okay, next item D is consideration to resolution authorizing preliminary engineering report for Rossman Avenue for the street utility improvements. And once again, I'm going to call on John Pratt.
Mayor and council, maybe just a little bit of background on this for those that were at the work session here this past month when we presented the updated draft of the capital improvement plan. You might recall that we had Rossman Avenue on the plan really as a to be determined date in terms of when we were going to do that project. Since that time, we've gotten a little bit more information on the condition of some of the infrastructure on that street that has led us to believe that we need to do that one sooner than later. Effectively, we have some water main that is a little bit suspect. We have a new water tower going online next summer that's going to generate a little bit more pressure on some of the system. And we've done some exploring on that water main and determined that it, in fact, does need some help. So at this point, we're asking the council to advance that project ahead and for a 2026 construction. So what we're asking for tonight is just authorizing the study, which would help us look at this a little bit closer. We would hopefully come back in November with that, with some further recommendations as far as the scope and extent of the project.
Okay, thank you. The committee reviewed this and move for resolution authorizing a preliminary engineering study for report for this Rossman Avenue Street Utilities. And I so move.
Motion's been made and seconded to authorize a preliminary engineering report for Rossman Avenue. Discussion on the motion. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries.
Okay, and the final item is E, consideration accepting the city engineer's monthly report. John, an update there?
Last one, I promise. Quite a few projects still going on. We're wrapping some stuff up, just getting some stuff started. We did wrap up the street rehabilitation project, which included Willow Springs from last year, so that final payment is being issued. And that project's being completed. Southwood Shore Estates, contractors completed all the underground infrastructure. Curb and gutter is in. They're on site right now doing the final street grading and getting prepared to pave that street on Friday, which will pretty well bring that one to completion. So just about done with that. Work continues on the water tower project. At this point, they're working on exterior coating of the bowl and the cone, which are currently still sitting down on the ground, but we've got the base coatings completed on that, and we'll be working on getting the logo or the graphic now put on that over the next week or two. After that, just some interior work, and then they'll suspend work for the winter and pick things back up in the spring again. Have made some progress on the Heartland State Trail trailhead. That one's been lingering a little bit, but they're picking up the pace here. Should be paving the parking lot yet this week. The shelter was starting to go up today. They've got the underground work done, most of the concrete, slabs and sidewalks and things like that done. So I think another couple weeks and that one's going to be getting pretty close. Forest Street is pretty well buttoned up. Contractor has just a couple of minor punch list items. Then that one will be in the done column. Westlake Drive Phase 3 and the beach improvement project, we are just in the final throes of design on that. Hoping here over the next few weeks we'll get that buttoned up and planning to bring those plans to the City Council in November for approval and authorization to bid, with the idea that we get bids back before the end of the year here and before the holiday season. So we can sort through all that stuff and get contracts awarded and get set up for construction next summer. DMRA Legacy Grant Project, not a whole lot of activity there, just a few things to finish up on that project, but by and large, it's coming to an end. Shorewood Drive street improvements, lots of activity since last month. I don't even know if we were started last month, and we're very close to complete. All the paving's been completed at this point. So just some shoulder restoration and mailbox reinstallation and things like that to clean up over the next week. And that one will be done. We already mentioned the intersection study tonight. 270th Avenue is a design project for this winter that we'll be working on. And I think we sufficiently covered the Linview Estates project already. So, any questions?
Questions for John?
I guess one question I brought up yesterday at Public Works, about the Shorewood Drive. I know when they redid that, they didn't put any street lights in. Mr. Roberts, have we looked at that, kind of that S curve behind Long Bridge there with the steep drop-offs on either side?
Yes, once we get infrastructure into that neighborhood, we'll take a look at putting street lights in there. Probably not gonna happen this fall. It'll be next spring or summer.
Still on the plan, though?
Yes.
Awesome. Thank you, sir.
Any further questions for John? If not, Ron, we should have a motion.
Okay, and I want to say that John Pratt, our city engineer, and his staff have been very busy this year, and they're going to have it even busier next year, but we just want to say thanks for the extra time they put in on all these projects. But I go ahead and make a motion to approve his project report tonight.
Second. Motion's been made and seconded to adopt a resolution accepting the city engineer's monthly report. Discussion on the motion. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. And we'll move to the Finance Committee agenda, and Chairman Bulky.
Thank you, Your Honor. Item 7A is consideration to approving the DLCCC budget and rates for 2026. We do this every year. Jeff was here from the CC. I don't see him now. But there was a very favorable report that Jeff gave at the Finance Committee. I move this forward with positive recommendation.
I'll second it.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve the Detroit Lakes Community and Cultural Center budget and rates for 2026. Discussion on the motion. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
Thank you, Your Honor. Item 7B is consideration of approving a request for proposal from the Tourism Board. At discussion at the Finance Committee, this is going to be tabled to a future date. We felt like we needed to circle the wagons with a couple of other committees and take another swing at this at a future date. So more to come on that one, but no action item. 7C, consideration to a second reading and adoption of ordinance 545, amending city code chapters 204 and 209. This is a second reading. Mr. Clem, any update?
Same as the first reading, so.
So we discussed this at Finance, and I so move.
Second it.
Motion's been made and seconded to give second reading and adopt ordinance 545. Discussion on the motion. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the motion carries and ordinance 545 is adopted.
Thank you, Your Honor. 7D is consideration of approving a resolution for the Minnesota Department of Education Library Construction Grant. To take a swing at this, we submitted it. It did not meet the state standard. We got a template. We revised it. Basically, that's back in there. It was approved at Finance Committee, and I so move.
Second. Motion's been made and seconded to approve a resolution to the Minnesota Department of Education Library Construction Grant. Discussion on the motion.
And this is for the project of doing a new roof on our library, so it's going to be a major project.
Further discussion.
I guess, quick question.
Go ahead.
I did review this, but I'm blanking. I apologize. I'm just not quite myself. What is the amount of the grant from the state on this?
$749,999.
$749,999.
Correct.
Further questions or comments? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
That's all, Your Honor.
Okay, we'll move to the Public Safety Committee. I don't think there's any items. Aaron, is there?
No, we're good, Your Honor.
Okay. Liquor Gambling Control Committee.
Yes, Your Honor.
Sean.
Item 5A, consideration to authorize an application to the Office of Cannabis Management for a lower potency hemp edible license for the liquor store. Short story is, with the new law, we have to apply for a license with the state to continue selling. Kelsey, do you want to add anything to that?
No, that about summarizes it.
Okay. Committee discussed, we wanted to move forward, so I so move.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded to authorize an application to the Office of Cannabis Management for a lower potency hemp edible license for the municipal liquor store. Discussion on the motion?
Just a quick question, just to clarify
Go ahead.
a little bit. We've been selling these items up until this point.
Yes.
But under new legislation, process procedures, whatever the OCM has developed, we now must.
We have to have a state license like anyone else selling low potency.
That's correct. They've changed we've been selling under a different statute. The cannabis statute now triggers it so that we have to have a license to do that.
Thank you.
Any further questions? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
The motion carries. Anything else, Sean?
Nope, that's it, Your Honor.
We do have a couple of Public Utilities Commission items, and I'm going to call on Chairman Bulkey is going to take the items in, since Chairman Stearns is not here, so Chairman Bulkey will take it.
Thank you, Your Honor. We discussed this with Mr. Roberts, the utility rates increase at Finance today. There's a great charts in that, and I think they're doing a heck of a job of keeping rates reasonable for everybody. But Mr. Roberts, if you'd care to dig into it a little bit, please.
Sure, Alderman Bulkey, Mayor and Council. We went with Missouri River Energy Services again on our cost of service and rate study update from 2022. We have them take a look at our rates annually. They did a full-blown cost of service study for both the electric and water in 2022. And every year we have them take a look at our financial performance from the prior year, anticipated capital O&M costs and the power supply cost and capital costs for the upcoming year, and verify that our assumptions made in 2022 either hold true or we got to make changes to the rates based on changes on our performance and operating costs. So what they took a look at for 2026 holds true from the 2022 forecast, and that's a 5% increase on the electric rate and a continued 12% increase on the water rate. We had them take a look at the sewer rate as well. They were going to conduct a full-blown cost service and rate study on the sewer side. Mid-year, they called me and told me they wanted to hold off on that until the 5-year city capital improvement plan is completed and ratified by the council. Because if you remember, a couple years ago, we made the change from street rehab projects and water and sewer reconstruct costs to take that out of the assessments to the property and put that into the rate base. So Missouri River wants to make sure that we take an accurate look of future capital cost on street reconstruct projects for that sanitary sewer cost, and then we'll get a deeper dive in that in 2026. But they recommended a 2% rate increase on the sanitary sewer to keep up with normal inflationary costs. One of the things we've seen pressure on the sewer side is the replacement cost of our membranes at E2Q. When we entered into that contract with Suez and Veolia in 2018, they gave us a guaranteed price for replacements with an inflationary index in that contract. At that time, the assumption was 3% per year for the 10-year period. They sent us a letter in July stating that since from 2018 through 2025, the cost inflationary index on replacement of those membranes has went up 61%. So over double what was anticipated in the original contract. And that does not include inflationary major tariff costs. So we've done a pretty good job. The sewer fund is healthy, but we still have to be aware of what those extra inflationary costs are. So the commission reviewed this information this morning and recommended the 12% on water, 5% on electric, and 2% on the sanitary sewer. If you take a look through your package, you take a look at where we are in comparison to our neighbors. The electric, we're in very good condition because our closest neighbors are Wild Rice Electric, Lake Region Electric, Minnesota Power, and Otter Tail Power. In almost all customer classes, we are below them. All the municipalities on the left-hand side of that chart are going to see rate increases on the electric side this year as well. Missouri River increased their rates 4.7% to us, and WAPA increased their rates 6.2%, and that equates to about a $770,000 increase in purchase power cost over 2025. And I'd entertain any questions.
So, Vernell, I'm sure people are more interested in what their bill's gonna look like, so what's the average increase in dollars for?
$5 on the electric, $3.33 on the water, and $1.40 on the sewer. So it's about $9.73 for the average residential customer, and that's an average. It all depends upon how much you use on all three of those utilities. But the average residential customer on all three, you'll see about $9.73 a month.
Thank you. A month, yeah. Any further questions for Vernell? Otherwise, we'll entertain motions. Hearing none, go ahead, Matt.
Item 10A1, consideration of resolution establishing amending electric rates and utility fees for 2026. This was discussed at Finance Committee, and I so move.
Second it.
Motion's been made and seconded to amend the electric rates for 2026. Discussion. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
Thank you, Your Honor. Item 10A2, consideration of resolution establishing and amending water rates and utility fees for 2026. Here again discussed at Finance Committee, and I so move.
Second it.
Motion's been made and seconded to amend the water rates for 2026. Discussion. All in favor of the motion, say aye. Motion carries.
10A3, consideration of resolution establishing and amending wastewater rates and utilities fees for 2026. This was discussed at Finance, and I so move.
Second it.
Motion's been made and seconded to amend the wastewater rates and utility fees for 2026. Discussion on the motion. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Also, I believe Vernell has another update you'd like to give the council.
Yeah, some of you may have seen a mailer or a card from Minnesota Power, Otter Tail Power, and Great River Energy in reference to a proposed, what they call Maple River to Cuyuna 345 kV project. It's a 345,000 volts that'll run from Maple River substation north of Fargo to the Cuyuna sub over by Crosby Ironton area. A couple months ago, they had a public meeting. They had 2 alternate routes showing. They refined that down to 1 corridor or 1 route now. I should say corridor. It's not necessarily a defined route yet. But it will be around Detroit Lakes. There's a possibility it will either run north of town in existing 230,000 volt transmission line corridor, or it will go where it appears to be along the 200 kV DC line that runs south of town and then also goes east of Detroit Lakes on Highway 10, crosses Highway 10. Like I said, this is a Minnesota Power, Otter Tail, and GRE project. This is in what's called MISO Tranche 2. It's they have received notice to construct. This line will be built. It's just a matter of where and when. Anticipated in-service on this is sometime in 2033 or 2034, so it's a ways out. But I will be attending the public meeting on this October 21st. Kind of want to know what those entities are thinking, timing, right-of-way issues, and anything else that may impact Detroit Lakes. So I'll be keeping an eye on it for us.
Thank you, Vernell. Is there any questions from the council?
Of course I have.
Go ahead, Wendy.
What does that mean in plain English for us? What is the transmission line? How big is it? Is it gonna go right through the middle of town, around the town?
No,
What-
okay, so
What is it?
let's talk about what the 345 kV transmission line is. If you drive from Fergus Falls to Alexandria and Alexandria to St. Cloud, that big transmission power line that's alongside the interstate, that's a 345,000 volt line. That is what this line is going to look like. So when I talk about an existing right-of-way, they will take a look at where there's already an existing transmission line, and they will run adjacent to that existing transmission line. They'll widen easements, they'll widen the right-of-way, and they'll put it in an adjacent right-of-way, or next to an adjacent right-of-way. The state of Minnesota is really pushing transmission owners and providers to do that, use existing easements and right-of-ways, rather than carving new routes. So that's why they focused on those 2 specific areas, because it's existing easements.
Any further questions? Okay, there's no action to be taken. Thank you, Vernell. Kelsey or Carrie, any city administration items that need to come before the council?
I have nothing new.
Okay. I would like to recommend the reappointment of Sheila Lurkey to the HRA board. And I would consider a motion.
So move.
Motion's been made and seconded to reappoint Sheila Lurkey to the Housing and Redevelopment Authority Board. Discussion on the motion. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. I'll need to have an appointment made to the Arts and Culture Commission, but I don't have a recommendation this evening. A couple announcements. There's a public discussion on the 2026 budget and tax levy pursuant to the truth and taxation requirements, and that'll take place at the city council meeting on December 9th at 6:01 PM. The Coalition of Greater Minnesota Cities Fall Conference is November 13th and 14th in Grand Rapids. If anyone in the council is interested in going, you can let Carrie know. The The balance of this year's city council meeting dates are listed, and please note that the November meeting is on a Monday. The balance of or next year's joint governance meetings dates are listed, and the 2026 city council meeting dates are listed. Is there anyone in the audience that had something on the agenda that I missed? If not, I would ask the council, Craig, anything further tonight? No. Aaron?
I would just like to comment on this whole state flag thing, and I'm gonna let my constituents know right now in Ward 3, bullies don't play nice in the sand. So to be called out a bully is not necessary. So we made a compromise, a fair compromise by not flying either flag, okay? It's a fair compromise. Bullies do not compromise, and I'll leave it as that.
Wendy, anything further?
I just have 2 or 3 things here. First, Chimigwich to everyone who came and spoke tonight, because I think when you have active community members who are engaged in our process, we can only do better. So a big thank you for everyone who got up and spoke. I know it's not always comfortable. It can be emotional. And so I appreciate everyone who took the time to do that. Want to just thank staff, as I don't do this often enough, but there's so much work going on behind the scenes that make us do our job a little better and certainly more informed. I want to thank Vernell, who always I wrote these down, I couldn't help it when I was talking. But I want to thank Vernell for being able to communicate to us in plain English when we ask very complicated things that I don't know anything about, so I appreciate that. And then shout out to the committee who put on the pavilion celebration on Saturday. I listened to polka music for the first time in a long time. I was in heaven. I was wishing my dad was with me. We could have cut the rug a little bit. So it was a great celebration. I had to go to a wedding and couldn't come back for the evening festivities, but again, thank you.
Thank you, Wendy. Ron?
Yes, and I want to thank everyone who attended the celebration at the pavilion. It was a big event. It started at 11. We got done at 11 o'clock at night. But I especially want to thank the VFW Color Guard. I want to thank Mayor Brigg for coming and give us a kickoff to all the events. At 3 o'clock, we had polka music and pie. But I especially want to thank the VFW. They put on a huge bingo party, and we had virtually every seat in that place filled. And just appreciate all the things they did. And they also had a taco stand there and everything else, so they did a big job. I want to thank Becky from the Becker County Museum for her work with displays and so forth. I want to thank our own city staff who was there. And most of all, I want to thank all the attendees that came to say a farewell to a building that served our city well, and we'll be ready for our new building before you know it. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Ron. Jackie?
Nothing, Your Honor.
Okay, Matt?
2 things. Thanks to Public Works. I know this summer you've done a lot of work on the road, a lot of construction. Thank you for the patience of the constituents to get those roads squared away. There's a lot more to go, but at least made a good headway on it. Get those plows ready because snow's coming, and I couldn't be more excited about it. Also, too, with Highway 10, with that realignment by East Shore Drive, I don't think people are aware when that happens, the amount of congestion and changing traffic patterns that's going to change on East Shore Drive there. So if you are concerned, I'd have you reach out to MnDOT. We definitely pay to be part of that study, but our voice is very limited, so please encourage you to reach out to MnDOT on that one.
Okay, Sean?
2 quick things. First one, I had some neighbors that wanted to say, express their thanks for taking care of our road in Willow Springs this summer, repairing the spots and taking care of the grass. So I'm just sharing that with city staff. And then another neighbor that attended and really enjoyed what the DL Fire Department did this week for Fire Prevention Week. So thank you to the fire department for your community outreach.
Okay, Doctor?
No, I'm good, thanks.
The business of this council has come to a conclusion. The meeting's adjourned.